and welcome back to our channel. I'm Jennifer and this is Kate.
And today we're going to be taking a look at some of the books that we read in August.
So we're just going to go ahead and start with our August flop, which is my fault because I picked it out. It was a school book and it didn't work out for us. So let's just go ahead and talk about it and get it over with.
And that book was Dear Bob and Sue, which tells the story of a retired couple, Matt and Karen Smith, who go on this big grand adventure to visit all of the US national parks. So it sounds really interesting, right?
It does. And they keep a record of their journey by sending email back home to their friends, Bob and Sue. So, Dear Bob and Sue.
And we read a lot of nature books, a lot of natural history books. So this one seemed like right up our alley, like it could be a lot of fun.
Only it wasn't. So the Amazon reviews for this one are really split. The reviewers either love it or they hate it. So I thought, well, let's just go ahead and give it a chance. It could go either way for us, but sadly it went the wrong way.
So we only made it through the first couple of chapters of this book before deciding that it wasn't really a good fit for us. One of the things that we didn't like about it was there was a lot of complaining. And that was probably meant to be relatable or funny, but it really didn't work and it got very old very fast.
Another thing is that there was a lot of random profanity in there. I didn't see that mentioned in any of the Amazon reviews when I was looking back in July, so that was surprising. Also, there's a lot of disturbing talk about different body parts. Why?
Yeah, that was weird and unnecessary.
It was weird and strange, and believe me, no one wants to hear Grandma and Grandpa use profanity or talk about body parts. Just no. So it wasn't our cup of tea. We just set it aside and we moved on to a different book, which Kate will talk about next.
And that book was A Girl of the Limberlost by Jean Stratton Porter. We both really loved this book. It was a great comeback after all the pitfalls of Dear Bob and Sue. So it follows Elnora, who is a high school student in the beginning of the 20th century. She lives alone with her not so nice mother out in the Limberlost, which I looked it up, and that is northeastern Indiana. So we follow her throughout high school, all the adventures and all the ups and downs. I think it's actually kind of similar to Anne of Green Gables in that respect, and I really liked that. And the book is also classified as a nature book. The deep love of nature is a continual theme throughout the story. Elnora loves going out into the woods and collecting specimens like birds' nests or moths and making collections. So I would absolutely recommend this book for high school students. It is a great combination of nature, sort of nature study, combined with really well done storytelling. So 5 out of 5 stars for this book. Definitely check it out.
My first book is Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patty Callahan, which should come as no surprise because last month I reviewed Becoming Mrs. Lewis, also by the same author, also about the life of C.S. Lewis. I love that one so much, I immediately wanted to read more by the author. So Once Upon a Wardrobe is more of a fiction story. It does cover the early life of C.S. Lewis, but it's told through the eyes of a young college student at Oxford named Meggs. She has a much younger brother at home named George, who is not well. He has a heart condition and he's homebound. He loves stories. He's gotten a hold of a copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and he is on fire to know, is Narnia real? And where is it? Where did it come from? So that sends Meggs on a quest to meet C.S. Lewis and find out these answers for George. Again, the story is fiction, but it does cover a lot of the early life of C.S. Lewis, where he went to school, his mother, the stories that he read, how those influenced him as a writer. So there's a lot of really interesting detail there. The story is wonderfully written. It's so good. It is a little bit sad. I won't give you any spoilers though, but if you are a C.S. Lewis fan, a Narnia fan, definitely put this one on your list. 5 out of 5 stars.
So my next book is A Lot of Books, and that is a lot of Jane Austen novels. So I received this beautiful collection, complete collection of all of her novels for Easter. So that prompted me to finally go in and read all the ones that I hadn't read yet. So that was about 4, and I had a great time doing that this summer. But it also prompted me to then start to check out some of Jane Austen's shorter works. And I found her short story, Lady Susan. I have to say, oh my goodness, Lady Susan is such a character. She is one of those Jane Austen characters that just has a super strong personality, but that's not always in the best way. She is kind of a devious character. She likes to scheme about people and things, which makes a really, really interesting time when you're reading about it. So the short story is actually told through a series of letters, which adds another interesting element to it. So you get to follow the letters between Lady Susan and various other characters, see what's going on with them, all of the drama that happens, of course, in that Jane Austen style. I ended up giving this book about 4 stars. I really did enjoy it, and I'm very curious now to see some of her other short works. So I'm going to be checking those out, and you probably will end up hearing about those in another video, another book video. But if you haven't checked out her short stories, if you haven't read Lady Susan and you really like Jane Austen, I definitely recommend that you do so. You will have a fun time. It will not disappoint.
My next book is called The Next Pope, and it's written by George Weigel. It looked interesting, it caught my eye. It's a shorter book, so I thought, well, let me give it a try. So George Weigel has known 3 different popes. He's written about them, he's interviewed them: John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and also Pope Francis. And he makes the interesting point that all 3 of these popes were either at Vatican II or definitely influenced by it. But the next pope will be further removed from Vatican II. So what will he be like? Recently, I read that it takes about 100 years after any major church council for the dust to settle, for everyone to calm down and get used to the new normal. And we're definitely not 100 years past Vatican II. I also read that 100 years ago, people didn't know as much about the Pope in the Vatican as they do today, because there was no, media, the news. We didn't have Twitter, and so people could pass the Pope on the street and not even know him. So they were more worried about, how am I doing as a Christian? What's my report card as a follower of Christ, instead of always honing in on how the Pope is doing. I mean, unless you were someone like Catherine of Siena and you had specific directions from Jesus to go and talk to the Pope and get him back on track, most people were more focused on how is my life going. So with all that swirling around in my brain, it was really interesting to read George's take on what the future Pope might be like. He also puts out George's wish list of what he hopes a future Pope will be like and what he hopes the future Pope will accomplish. So again, very interesting to read. I didn't agree necessarily with everything he said, but of course I'm not a Vatican insider, and I'm definitely not Catherine of Siena. So if you're interested in maybe getting a glimpse of what the future Pope might be like, it's definitely worth your time to pick it up and give it a read.
So my last book for today is one that I actually just finished today, and that is The Gladiators from Capua by Caroline Lawrence. Now, truth be told, this is the 8th book in a series, the Roman Mystery series, which I'm honestly quite surprised has not come up on our channel until now, but here we are. So I don't really want to talk too much about this book because it's in the middle of the series, spoilers, but I will talk about the series in general. It follows 4 kids living in Ostia in ancient Rome, and they come from all different backgrounds, all different situations, but they all share a love of adventure, and in particular, a love of solving mysteries. So the series starts with this book, The Thieves of Ostia, and it proceeds to follow them as they tackle all the different mysteries that come their way. And it is a kid series, honestly. I would probably say this is good for late elementary or middle school, or any age, honestly. I'm sitting here as a teenager telling you that I'm reading it, and I'm very greatly enjoying it. And I also have to say, this series is very well researched too. You learn all sorts of fun, fascinating little details, and it can be great to read along with your kids if they are learning about ancient Rome. And if you do get started with this series and you like it, well, good news, because there's something like 17 books in this series. So I'm only on book 8. I've got a ways to go. But if you have kids who are readers, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Or of course, you could be like me and read it as an adult and still enjoy it then. It really is a great series.
My last book is a super fun book for both kids and adults called The Secret School by Avi. This one has been on our bookshelf for years and no one ever read it. And the other day I thought, well, by golly, I'm just going to get this book and read it. It's not even that long. And I am so glad that I did because it is just wonderful. It is so funny and so inspirational. I was really sad when it ended. It's the story of Ida Beitzen, who is an 8th grader at a one-room country schoolhouse. She's looking very much forward to passing her 8th grade final exams and going on to high school in the fall. But then the teacher's mother gets sick and the teacher has to leave the school. And the superintendent just comes in and makes the decision that we're so close to summer vacation kids that we're just going to start vacation early and close down the school. And all the kids are happy except for Ida and her friend Tom, because without their final 8th grade exams, they can't go on to high school in the fall and they will have to repeat 8th grade. So that is a pretty big disaster and disappointment for them. And Tom comes up with the idea of having Ida secretly teach them all school so they can pass their exams. So that's all I'm going to say. It is very fun how the story unfolds. If you have ever had some big situation or problem thrust into your lap that you're trying to take care of while you're trying to do the rest of your normal life, then you will really like and appreciate Ida. As soon as the book was over, I immediately went to the author's website because I was hoping there is a sequel, and there's not, but there is one apparently in the works. As of 2021, Avi at her website said that there is a sequel in the works, so I am really looking forward to that. The Secret School for the win. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars.
So there you have it. That is a run through of some of the books that we have read in August.
Let us know down in the comments if you have read any of them. If you read Dear Bob and Sue, if you liked it, should we have kept up with it? I don't know. Also, let us know if you have any suggestions for us for September.
So we hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.